But personally, who's against that?
I was at home complaining. No, I wasn't complaining because the Office of Legal Counsel was involved. And the Office of Legal Counsel...
This came after.
But the Office of Legal Counsel is the office in the Department of Justice, because I worked at the Department of Justice, that reviews these things and makes legal determinations. This president doesn't go through the Office of Legal Counsel. This president does not go to Congress. Congress has the power to to approve wars. This Congress has the power of the purse. This president is acting more like a king.
He's
the commander-in-chief, but he is not a king. And
a king? What is this dimwit talking about? President Trump is kicking ass and taking names as we speak on behalf of the American people. Here we have Sunny Hostin getting exposed for her hypocrisy while trying to imply that President Trump's strikes on Iran are illegal and unconstitutional. But where was all this outrage back in 2011 when President Obama authorized military action in Libya without congressional approval? At the time, the Obama administration argued the president had the constitutional authority to use military force in Libya because it served U.S. national interests. Officials said prior congressional approval wasn't required.
The president defended his decision to use military force in Libya. He said that when the interests and values of the U.S. are at stake, he has a moral obligation to act. And he said that he sent military force into Libya to stop a massacre.
We struck regime forces approaching Benghazi to save that city and the people within it. We hit Gaddafi's air defenses, which paved the way for a no-fly zone. And tonight, I can report that we have stopped Gaddafi's deadly advance. And as president, I refuse to wait for the images of slaughter and mass graves before taking action.
You see, Sonny, when a president sees a threat, the expectation is simple. We neutralize the threat immediately. So when President Obama launched military action in Libya without Congress voting first, were you calling him a king back then also? Or is that label something that only gets thrown around when a Republican is the one in the White House? Because that's exactly what it looks like. The standard changes depending on who's in power here. One president uses military force and it's called strong American leadership. Another does it and suddenly it's constitutional crisis. Are you freaking kidding me? As our leaders, they have the right to defend us when they see a real threat. The dislike for Trump runs so deep that even when a dangerous enemy is taking out, their TDS won't let them say something as simple as at least the bad guy is gone, or even good job.
Honor that the administration is trying to make this about the president. It's not about making the president look bad. We must honor our service members, and we should. And I think we can all agree.
Can I ask you? I think we are agreeing that they should all go with honor, be received with honor, because they serve with honor. And they are the best of us are serving for the rest of us, and that they have my heart for life. Right. I want to ask you why you keep calling this like an undocumented attack, that you don't agree with the war and illegal.
Unconstitutional
So did you believe it was illegal in April of 2011 when the Office of Legal Counsel memo stated from President Obama that the president has constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Libya because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest prior congressional approval was not constitutionally required to use military force in these operations? Where were you then complaining?
I agreed. Well, I wasn't on the show then.
No, but personally, would you have stood against that?
I was at home complaining. No, I wasn't complaining because the Office of...
So yes, Sonny, where was the outrage? I truly believe if Sonny could, she would pick the Ayatollah to be her leader over Trump. What a complete joke. When you listen to Sunny Hostin and some of these Dems talk about President Trump striking Iran, you realize something very quickly. This isn't really about the Constitution, and it's not even really about war powers. It's about one thing, and one thing only. They simply cannot stand Donald J. Trump. Because think about what's happening. The same people who spent years saying America has to be strong and stand up to hostile enemies are suddenly shocked the moment Trump actually does exactly that. Suddenly, it's reckless. Suddenly, it's extremely dangerous. Suddenly, the sky is falling down. But here's the reality of the situation. When the commander-in-chief sees a threat, the expectations is that he takes actions fast. That's literally the job's description. Presidents are not elected to sit around holding meetings while enemies plan attacks against us. They are elected to make tough decisions and fast. And what really jumps out in this clip is something very clear. Sunny Hostin can't even bring herself to acknowledge a single positive outcome. Not even something as simple as saying at least the threat was removed. Why? Because admitting that would mean acknowledging Trump might have made the right call. And that right there tells you everything you need to know. When politics becomes so personal that someone cannot recognize a result that benefits her and our national security, that's not analysis anymore. That's pure political bias. Look, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, Americans expect strength from their president. They expect action when threats appear around the world. But what we're seeing from some of these commentators isn't serious debate. It's pure Trump derangement syndrome. What a complete joke. But hey, maybe I'm completely wrong. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.